Hi crafty friends, it's Lori with a craft party. Wanted to do the third section of this tutorial, and we already did the spine with the material, the star material. Then we were going to go and use the binding tape that I've already got here and some rickrack that I put on, and as you can see, it's on both sides. I apologize. I videoed it and the video didn't turn out, but I will show you how I did this. I started on the inside and I glued down the seam, placed the binding on there, put a binding clip of some sort on here, turned it over, glued it down again, glued some more, and taped it or glued it down and turned it over, and I did just like that, gluing on both sides with also the rickrack. And that's where we got there. I apologize because I got through the video before I realized that it wasn't recording. That figures, doesn't it? So what we're going to do is reenact what I've already done. The next thing we need to do is we need to work on our spine, our signatures. And a signature is a group of pages. This is the last signature in the book. Is a group of pages that you go ahead and you put together and you sew into your spine. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing we need to do is get a piece of trash out, and this one's got tape on it, but it'll be okay. My spine is 1.5 inches wide, if you remember from the last excuse me, from the last video. If you remember, it was 1.5 inches wide. So we got to take this paper and cut it at 1.5 inches. And this is just scrap paper. You won't be keeping this. So it can be a piece out of your trash. And then you also need it to be as long as your spine is. So we can go from here down to here. We're going to fold that up. Keep going. Okay. So then we can cut that. I don't see my scissors right offhand, so we're just going to use the handy dandy cutter to cut it. And that ended up being right a little over 8 inches. I'll show you on the book. It's there to there. Okay, and then what we want to do, we're going to set the book off to the side a second. And we're going to fold it in half. Make the creases really good. Fold it in half again. Long ways. Make the crease really good. Then we're going to open it back up. We're going to fold it in half. And we're going to try to do this as perfect as possible and crease it. There we go. And then we want to fold it in half again. And you want this, you're trying to get this as perfect as possible because this is where this is how we're going to sew in your signatures. This is going to be our guide. So we want to try to do this as evenly as possible. There we go. And now we're going to open it up. Looking for a pencil. Might have to grab one. I'm not seeing one. We open it up and we flatten it out. Let me grab a pencil. Okay. And we've got the center line here. You don't have to necessarily make these lines. I'm making them to show you. But if you want to, you're more than welcome to, because it's not going to hurt anything. Then you've got this line here from that fold. Then turn it the other way and you've got this fold here. And then you've got to fold down the center. So I'm going to make that cross section. Then you've got to fold down the top side. If you've got it setting up like I do, you've got that fold. And you got a cross section there and there. And I just kind of went a little off this. There we go. Okay, and that one. And then you've got the same thing on the other side. And you want to make a cross at each one of those intersections. And then you'll have a spot to put each one of your circles. This is going to be where each one of these dots will be where you're going to do your threads. So you want a hole at each one of these intersections. That's why I said you don't necessarily have to draw the lines if you don't want to, but it does kind of help. And I've got an awl here, A-W-L, awl, and I'm using it to poke a hole in each one of these cross sections. And now it's ready. I'm going to use my hands here and try to set it up like this so it's centered exactly right on the spine. There we go. And then what you need to do is, while this is in here, you need to poke through till it comes out the other side. And eventually, and it's hard, it'll take a minute, and eventually you'll poke through and you have another hole all the way through. And you do that 9 times. So 3 across the top, 3 across the center, 3 across the bottom. And I've already got my holes poked here. So I don't want to poke anymore because we don't want any more issues than we already have. And so that is done. Then you get your signatures. And I will show you what I've done with the signatures because they're already ready to go through. But I've got, this is the 3rd signature. I'm doing 3 signatures. The Poky Puppy has 2 signatures come in the book. I showed you that in the last video. And then I made a 3rd signature, which is going to be the center signature, out of decorative paper. And how I did that, I'll just take one of the decorative papers I've got sitting here. And how I did that was I took, let's see, looking for the actual book. I took the book page and it was this long. So I fold it up, making it even, and then folding it in half. And there I have 4 book pages for my Poky Puppy junk journal. And then it'll get sewn right in there like that. This one I'm not going to use, it's just a show. And then once the we get these in there, we'll be able to tape, use washi tape or masking tape or some glue, and this will be a pocket because we will glue this side down. So we're going to put that off to the side. I want to show you one other thing that I did, is I took 2 envelopes and I glued them together and made 1 page. So that'll be a page, well, it'll be 1 page, a pocket, and a second page. And how I did that was I took 2 envelopes, and if I'm going too fast, please take the time to pause the video, rewind it, and watch it again until you understand what I'm doing. I'm trying not to go too fast, but I've done it so many times that I tend to go faster than I need to. So then what I want to do is take some glue. And I've got gunky on my hand, so I want to get that off. Then I'm going to take some glue and just the flap. That's all I'm doing is just the flap. Okay, I'm going to spread some glue on here. Okay, got my towel because I'm going to need it. And I'm just going to smear this glue out. Then I'm going to take the other envelope and I'm going to slide it just barely inside that other envelope where the glue is. Gluing the front and the back, the front envelope to the back envelope. And then you've got one full page with a crease. And there's a little, with this envelope, there's a little bit of excess. I'm just going to cut that off so it doesn't get in our way later. And then you've got a page. You've got one page that's shorter. And when you flip it open, your signature will sew in here. And then you'll have another page. And that's what I've got here, is two envelopes going down the center, and I'm gonna have to recenter this up. It looks like it's moved. And then we've got that as a signature. Now we want to take that same paper and we want to line up all, I've already done this, but I'm gonna redo it for you. I want to line up all of my signatures, make sure that they're all creased in the same area. And this is, with this envelope, it's smaller than the rest of them. So it needs to be centered in the center of your signatures. And then we are going to bulldog clip or binder clip those together. Like this. And we're going to, this is the center signature, so it is we're going to use the center set of dots. So you want a T at the top, B at the bottom, so you keep that straight. So we're going to binder clip this here. Centering the center line with the center line fold of the signatures. Then you're going to take your awl again, and since we're working with the center one, we're going to make center holes, pushing all the way through so that the hole shows up on the back. And we've got that one, and then we can pull just this page out, and we've got our signature ready to put in. And you're going to do all three of those like that. Getting my glue lid put back on so it doesn't make a mess everywhere. Okay, so now you've got all of your signatures. This one's the third one. This one is the second one. And this one is the first one. You've got all your signatures ready with the holes lined up. And the holes are on your spine. Then you want to take your wax thread. I've got to see. Okay, move these off to the side. I'm going to want the last signature first. So I'm going to put the last signature in at the beginning, and the first signature will be last. So I want to take my wax thread, and I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and cut. And you don't have to maybe do that much. I prefer to do that much because if something happens where it gets snagged or something, I can maybe retie it or fix it in some way. It's up to you. So now we have the signatures ready. Okay. And we've got the thread ready. Now I got to find my needle. Put it back in here. And this is like an upholstery needle. I think I got mine at the thrift store. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that's where I got it. You want to look at your book, and you want to make sure that your graphics are going the same way as your cover graphics. So I don't want it this way, because then the signature will be upside down. I want the signature in this way. I'm going to sew in through the center. I'm going to pull the thread till it gets real close to going through, about that long, as long as from the center to the edge of the book. Then I'm going to grab some masking tape, and I'm just going to masking tape that down. You can use washi tape, or painter's tape. I would be careful about using any other kind because you don't want to pull up the paper off the envelope or whatever your center page is. So we've got that. We're gone through the center of the signature. Then we want to find the last hole in our spine in the center. So it's the one closest to the back. And we're going to pull that through. Let's set our signature up here on our book. And we're going to pull that through. Just like that. Now, I'm double checking to make sure that my pictures are going the same way. I just always worry about that. Then, we're going to set it down a second. And I'm going to put some beads on. So this is the time to put beads on your spine if you want them. Then there's one. And here's a second one. I've got some sitting here. I'm not sure if they all go on or not. Okay, yep. Then there's 3 beads on, and it's up to you how many beads you put on. It depends on how big they are. Your beads will determine how many you can put on your signature. Then you want to go through the farthest one, closest to the back panel, the top hole. And you're going to push your needle through there. And you're going to get it all the way through. Now your beads are kind of moving around, but that's okay. They'll straighten up here in a second. And then you're going to take your hole from your signature, and you're going to put the needle through there, and then you're going to pull. And you want to be careful pulling because you don't want to rip your pages, but you want to pull with enough force that you're pulling those beads right up there in line. Now we're going to turn the book over, and you're going to skip this center hole. We don't want to go in that one. We want to go in this last one, the one closest to the bottom, I believe. Yes. And we're going to put that signature, or that needle, through that signature. We're going to turn it over, and we're going to make sure that we're going through the hole that is the closest to the back. So here's the one closest to the back. And we pull. And it's tough sometimes. Pull it nice and taut. And now you'll see we've got the beads here. and I'm double checking that I've got 2 holes still to the right, 1 for the center, 1 for the right, 1 for the center, 1 for the right, 1 for the center, 1 for the right. So I'm in the right holes. I want to go ahead and I'm gonna grab some more beads. Let's put a small one in the middle. And I've got 3 beads, and I think that's going to be plenty. And then we want to go up through the center hole again. So when you go through, you're going to see there's a thread already there. Do not go through that thread. Go up beside the thread. So this is going to be a little tough. You're going to want to be looking here and in here. I'm going to try to keep my head back out of the way. And you're going to go up through the signature. Okay. And you're going to keep pulling until that comes through. And it's not the easiest thing to do, but it'll come through. Then we've got a little bit so we just pull it taut. Double check on this side that it's tight. It is. I'm going to hold that down and pull this masking tape off because we'll need that for in a little bit. I'm going to take my needle off my wax thread. We're going to look, and we've got the one going down the center. We've got one going to the right and one going to the left. That's how it needs to be. You don't want both of these on the same side. You want them on opposite sides. Then you're going to go over and knot, then go under and knot, and then over and knot again. And then I like to make my wax thread as long as my spine, from the center to the edge of the spine. And then that is trash. Or if you want to save it for something else, go ahead. But we've got the first signature, which is actually the last in the book. We've got that in the book. So it's ready to go. And we've got our beads on the back. And we're ready to do the center one. The difference between the center signature and the other 2 signatures is going to be we're not going to put beads on the center one. It's up to you if you do. My beads are so big that if I tried to put beads on the center one, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't look right. So we are not going to put beads on that one. And I've got my center signature. And I want to take my wax thread and my cat made a mess of my wax thread, so there's 2 and 2 and scissors. Again, it's the same thing. I just did mine a little backwards, but you want to measure 1, 2, 3, and 4. And mine's a little bigger than that, but that's okay. It's just excess. It's not going to hurt anything. You're going to cut it off later. So then we're going to thread our needle again. We're going to go down through the center. Make sure you're putting it in there the right way. See, we've got these folds where we're going to have our pockets like I showed you earlier. We want to make sure that is on the bottom side so that the pockets stay on the bottom half of the book. So we're looking, yes, this is the right way. We're going to go through the signature. We're going to go through the center and the center hole. So we went through the center, the middle hole of the middle section. And we just pull until we get about that much. And then we tape it down. Okay. We pull it. And then we go up through the top. And we're going to find where our hole is. I've got the needle going through. We're looking for the hole for the signature. Trying not to poke my thumb. So it's going to take me a second. Yep, poked my finger. No blood. We're good. Pull it through. Now again, we are going to skip the center hole and go straight for the bottom one. And again, this is a good time to make sure that your cover and your signature is going the same way. You don't want to get all done and realize that you did it backwards and have to tear it all back out again. So then I've got this, and I'm going through the center of the bottom set of holes. And I'm pulling through. And then we're going to go through the center hole. And remember, like I told you the last time, we don't want to go through that thread. So we want to be very careful that we don't go through the thread. We come up beside it. We've got one on the right. We pull that nice and tight. We've got the one down the center, and then we've got the one to the left. Now, I've got them pulled taut. I want to turn it over. I'm double checking that it's tight back here and that there's not a knot or anything in it. I'm going to take my needle off my wax thread. Going to go over tie. Go, this one always is hard for me. Go under tie, and then go over tie again. And that's just to keep your signatures, your wax thread tight in there. And if you want, feel free to put a little dab of glue in there. I'm not going to, but then I just cut it about as long as it is from the center to the edge. I'm going to take off the binder clips. Take off the masking tape. And there we've got the second signature in our book. Now we're going to go and do the third one the same way. We've got the third signature. I need some wax thread. So I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to count it. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. I'm going to cut it. Move my wax thread off to the side. Move my scissors off to the side. Grab my needle. Okay. And now we're working the front of the book. So we've got the back set, the middle section, and now we're working on these 3. The first thing we want to do is go through the center of the signature, making sure that our book and our signature are both going the same direction. We'll pull that through. Tape that down. If you pull it really hard, it's going to come out from under that tape, so you want to be careful not to do that, but you want to tape that down. And then we're going to go through the center hole in the spine. There, now it's pulled taut. We want to do some beads now. See what we got. Oops, I undid my string, my wax thread out of my needle, so I got to re-thread that. And let's go with a pink one. Might need 2 for this one because these are smaller. So I'm going to put 4 on this one. There we go. And we're going to go in the top. Like, these beads are going to be going wherever they want to go for a little bit. Then we're going to go in the top hole. We're going to flip it over. And we're going to go in the top signature holes. And we're going to pull that. Watch. I try to watch the center so I'm not pulling it through. And I make sure on the back that I didn't get it hooked on my other beads. Okay. Just as before, we skip that middle hole and we go to the bottom hole. We're going to pull that taut. And we're going to go through the last hole that's left, the bottom, closest to the front. And we're going to pull that. Now we need to bead again. And we're going to go right in that middle hole. Now, it came up, the needle came up on this side, towards me side of the thread, middle thread, and I don't want it that way. I want it on the top side, or the left side, if we're looking at it like this, the left side. And I want to pull it up, check the back, make sure that, see, we did something, it's got tangled. So there we go. Good thing we looked. It wouldn't have been taut. We pull that tight. Take off our masking tape. Take off our needle. And we're going to pull it taut and then knot over. And then knot under. This one, like I said, is always hard for me. And then knot over again. Pull it tight. And then cut your threads. Take off your binding clips. And there we have the Poky little puppy. It's got its signatures with the beads. Now we open it up and the signatures are going the right way. And we can flip through the book. We've got a book page, a pocket. We're going to make this a pocket at a later date. Book page, another pocket, a book page, the pocket, the envelope, a pocket, the book page. And if I haven't told you, I did write down on every page before I took it apart the number of that page, so if it for some reason got messed up, I would be able to find the right page. If the pages fell on the floor or something like that, and then I could redo the pages in order without too much trouble. And then we've got another page with a pocket, and then page number 9, and a pocket, and the last page in that signature. And then the middle signature has this pocket and this pocket, and they're all going to be pockets in this one. If you remember, I told you that this isn't going to have any of the book pages in it. And then we've got the envelope for the center. and we just go on with the pockets. We will do the pockets in the next video. But then we've got that. And then we've got the third signature, and that's part of a book page. And we open it up, and we've got a pocket, another book page, page 15. And there's more of the story in a pocket. More of the story in a pocket. And we're at the center of the signature, and we've got an envelope. And then do the same thing for the last half of the signature. And there's Poky Puppy. And a pocket. And the last page of the book. So there's that. This was, I believe the third. I will put it in here right now. In here. If I'm wrong, but I think this is the third video of this Poky little puppy, and there should be at least one more. So that's it for today. Thank you for stopping by and crafting with me. I really appreciate it. If you would, please comment, like, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm of my channel. As always, thank you for stopping by. Hugs.